Shout out to all you dads out there. Good morning. Thank you for taking a minute with me. I had no idea how important this one thing from Dad would be to my children. And I want to talk with you about it. You see, one thing that your children crave, that they need, is time with Dad. And I don't mean time where Dad is sitting on the couch and your child is playing on your knee with his toys and you're scrolling on your phone. I don't even mean time with the whole family together going on a trip. I mean individual dates with your children. So I started doing this when my kids were maybe 2 years old. And I committed that at the time, I only had twins. This becomes increasingly more difficult as far as your time commitment with how many children you have. But I had twins at the time who were 2. And I remember deciding these days are passing too quickly. I can already tell that. And not only are they passing quickly, but as their father, I want to be a primary influence in their life. A primary influence in their life. How do I do that? Probably one of the most significant things that I began doing toward that end is to take them each on a date weekly. Now, I kind of had to think up ideas at the time of what to do on my own, but as my kids grew bigger, they would give me some direction. At the time, they must have been more like 1.5 because they weren't talking really yet. My daughter Evelyn always wanted me to take her to a coffee shop. And we had one specific coffee shop in Bozeman, Montana. And I would take her there for an hour or so on her date day. And usually the dates would last 1 or 2 hours, from the time that I leave my house to the time that we come back, sometimes 3 hours. And I would take her to the coffee shop and we'd sit down, and she couldn't even speak English yet. It was mostly gibberish, but she would sit across from me and just talk gibberish. Just talk baby. I didn't understand a word she was saying for the most part, but I smiled and I nodded and I laughed when she laughed because apparently she had just said something funny, even though I didn't know what it was or what it meant. But I had communication time with my daughter before she was old enough to communicate in English. This was revolutionary in my relationship with my daughter and in her relationship to the rest of her life, to the rest of her world. I did the same thing with my son. The first time I tried taking him to a coffee shop, and sometimes he liked that. He liked this particular quiche that they had at this coffee shop. And so we would go and have that. But most of the time, what he wanted to do was to go to the Museum of the Rockies and look at the dinosaurs. It did not matter that we'd seen the dinosaurs the week before, and the week before that, and the week before that, and the week before that consecutively for the last 150 weeks in a row. He still wanted to see the dinos every time on our date. It wasn't the dinos. It was time with Dad that was important to him. It was time with Dad that grew his confidence, that grew his ability to communicate, that changed and impacted his attitude and his confidence and how he approached the rest of the world. So what do I mean by that? Practical example. My wife noticed it actually before I did, but she would come to me and say, Zach, one of the kids, Ezra, Evelyn really needs a date. I say, well, what do you mean? They're just acting out. They've got a bad attitude. They're crying all the time. I just can't. I'm having to discipline them way too many times every day. They're just stuck in a rut and I don't know what to do. I would take them on a 3-hour date. We wouldn't talk about their attitude. We wouldn't talk about their disobedience. We wouldn't talk about their unhappiness. It was just time. Time was the perfect key that fit into the perfect slot that unlocked this influence into my kids' lives. And it was so cool because it wasn't just influence like it's going to impact them later on. It was real-time influence. I would bring them home And yes, they're still going to act out. They still need discipline. But it was a 180-degree turn from what it was before we went on a date. They needed that time with Dad. They need that time with you. Your children, fathers, need that time with you. Don't listen to the lies of culture that say quality time is better than quantity time. Not necessarily. Yes, you want it to be quality time, but quality time does not mean planning some big extravagant thing. No. Quality time is just time that you spend with your child where your phone is in your pocket, or better yet, left in the car or left at home. It's just you and your child. That is quality time. And there is no substitute. There is no substitute for spending that time with your child. As my children have gotten older, we've since moved out of Bozeman. We live way out in the mountains now. And it's not practical for me to go and take my child all the way into town for a date. It's an hour of driving just to get there and back or more. Instead, I still spend time with them. And in fact, I would say I spend one-on-one time with them more frequently now than I did when we lived in town. It's a little bit different though. It's a walk in the woods. It's a ride in our side-by-side or on the four-wheeler. It's going out fishing in the creek behind our house. It's going and laying down in a hammock and just reading a story together or talking together. These are the things that you can do to shape the human being that your child is going to become. And I'm astounded at the level of respect that my children hold for me. I'm honored, I'm privileged, and I'm very, very thankful for it. But I honestly think it had massively to do with the investment of time that I put in them and the investment of time that I continue putting into them. I hope this encouraged you. I hope you can carve out, I know you can, I hope you will carve out some time every week to spend one-on-one with each one of your children. You're going to blink and they're going to be grown and gone. Your football games are still going to be there. Your phone is still going to be there. You can still scroll. Your friends' nights out, whatever. It's all still going to be there. This is a small chunk of your life. Live today in such a way that you're not going to regret how you lived it with your children when they're grown and gone. I hope this encouraged you. God bless you and have a wonderful day.